would like to, well, if you forgot, I would like to go back a little bit. I really liked how you said, when you're talking about your song, No Relationships, and how we live in a world where men, were not allowed to show certain emotions,
Right.
signs of weakness and so on to hurt. And you, do you consider yourself an R&B singer or what genre do you consider yourself? Because your music does feel very emotional, in a good way. So you're very much going against those societal norms and breaking them and saying, you know what, I am in tap with my emotions and and that's okay. And I can still be a man and still live up to all these expectations that, my wife holds me to and my family holds me to, what people around me hold me to.
People have always known me as a person who show a certain type of love. Mm-hmm. I've never been afraid to show my emotions. I do have one rule. I don't like to have people be able to control my emotions.
Yeah, and I think that's dangerous, right? Because and it sucks that we have to try to find that balance with people. It's I want to show my emotions with you, but we know some people may see that as weakness,
right?
And try to take that advantage of you.
Yeah, definitely. So you have to, sad but true, you have to be careful with that. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to painting the picture of how a man should be, and because my favorite thing to write in music is ballads, right? If I could just write ballads and still be successful, I would do it. But I know I need to write a balance of things because not everybody can handle the slower music, right? Mm-hmm. But the way, if you notice when you listen to my music, nothing sounds the same. It doesn't sound like the last song you just heard.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah.
And the reason for that is because I listen to everything, country, rock, blues. It doesn't matter. I listen to all of it because it helps me think outside the box.
Yeah. And it helps you grab the best. The great thing about diversity, not only with listening to music, but anything in life, is I feel like you're able to grab the best things from each genre and each thing, and you're able to take all these influences and then use those to create something brand new.
Yeah, definitely. I always tell people, I can guarantee you can always find at least one good song in every style of music, at least. And if it's not good, it's at least tolerable. You can tolerate it.
Yeah.
That
makes a big difference. Because I feel like I can tolerate pretty much any type of music. So if there's a song that comes on, I'm and I can't tolerate it, I don't okay, that. They gotta go back to the drawing board with that one.
Right.
But I think that's a very good standard to have for any artist right there. At the bare minimum, make your music tolerable. So if it gets played on the radio or if it randomly gets thrown on in a shuffle playlist, people aren't going to hit that skip button immediately.
Right.
But I'm thinking as an artist, you still you're an artist.
Yes.
So you want to portray what you like.
You do. So
whether people like it or not. Sometimes.
So here's the story with that, or not story, but the structure of what that means. So you want to write. Obviously, you want to love what you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you got to also say to yourself, who am I doing this for? Mm-hmm. Am I doing it just for me? Or am I doing it to connect with the mass, right? If you're just doing it for you, you can sit down in the basement and just create whatever you want and be okay. And you have to be content with the results.
Yeah.
But if you want to touch the mainstream, you got to do some mainstream stuff. It's just what it is, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you can do underground or something, but you have to. And P. Diddy said it best. What he told Biggie: you need an A side and you need a B side. And for those who don't know about the cassette tapes, that's the that's the analogy of it. You got to have an A side and a B side, so you can't have all this rough stuff and nothing for the mainstream if you want to reach the mainstream. So your A side needs to be able to connect with a broader audience than what you just used to.
I like that. And it challenges yourself too as an artist. I feel like a lot of people who are in the underground, they have this weird hatred towards the mainstream media and then the mainstream artists, whatever. Man, I'm always gonna be an underground. But I feel like the problem is it's really, once you become so like sucked into the underground, that local scene, it can be very difficult to break out of that eventually. You know?
I agree.
Yeah. Were you ever into like, when you obviously you first started out, you were very local, and then
Yeah.
like you eventually kind of broke out. Was that like pretty challenging for you? Did you feel like weird, or is that something you were always like striving for?
Yeah, I always strive for that, and just my music in general has always been formatted that way.
Yeah.
You know,
You can tell by listening to it. Yeah, I think that's challenging. I feel like making it into the mainstream, like it's so difficult because it is the most challenging type of music to make, whether you like people want to admit it or not.
right.
Like-
Let me give you a perfect example, just to back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
When you was talking about your friends, this is how you know consistency is effective. Think of the times you heard an artist and you said to yourself, like, "Oh my God, he's whack." Man, I could do better than that in my sleep.
Yeah.
Right? You've seen people act like that, but what they fail to realize is that person had muster. He was grinding. He or she was grinding. They never stopped. They was consistent, because even though you thought they sucked, they still made it. Right? They still made it.
Yeah.
Not because they was the greatest, but because they were so consistent that they just kept climbing that ladder until they got there. Right? It's all about how much you believe in yourself, because that will determine how much effort you put in.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter if you worked hard for 2 weeks, if you stopped that third week. You know, that doesn't matter anymore. Nobody cares about what you did 2 weeks ago if you're not doing it on that third week.
It's kind of funny you're bringing this up because we were literally just talking about this before the podcast. You know, we're just like, we're gonna keep growing. We got to just stay consistent. You know,
You have to.
whether people like it or not. You know, we're gonna get better, make everyone better. It's you know all about that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've been doing that for years.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're like a good role model. You know, people can look up to you, and especially like someone like me who's seen like where you were before.
Right.
You know, a lot of people don't know that, but it's like wow.
Definitely.
Like after we talked and I was like, what the hell's, damn, you know, I was like, and, you know, this guy's like stepped it up big time, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing, man.